It is also true to say he was an asset of the nation by virtue of him being elected twice and served, presided over the affairs of the country for 7 years. That opportunity citizens gave him, conferred on him, confers on us to serve the people is a confirmation that the people or we shed some of our personal family rights to the nation. 5 of our former presidents passed on, and death is only known, is only controlled by one. He who gives us life, he who takes it, when only he knows, how only he knows. And 5 of them were taken away by the Creator. And now this is the 6th president. 5 of them are buried in one place, next to each other. A decision citizens made, which confirms that in these offices we occupy, this chair I sit in, some of our preferences are overridden by the bigger picture, the state. Many died, not many, some died with the issues around litigation, issues here and there. But they were still buried with honor at the embassy mark. So is the choice of the people. I just want to remind the 3 of you colleagues that of the living presidents, those who lived, let me express myself properly, those who lived on after their presidents, unfortunately 2 of them died in office, we know them, but those that lived after their presidents, they all had their immunities taken away. I'm sure you haven't paid attention to that. At some point, President Kaunda's immunity was taken away by President Chiluba. At some point, in fact, throughout, President Chiluba's immunity was taken away by President Mwanawasa. President Mwanawasa died in office. Then President Sata died in office. President Banda, his immunity was taken away by the PF government. He is the first one that has gone to the Creator with his immunity intact. I don't think many citizens have paid attention to that. And it's a decision this president made that we should not continue that way. So our leaders of the 3 church mother bodies, this was by way of information, to repeat what you already know, that irrespective of the issues that may have been here and there, his return to politics, therefore loss of benefits by law, as Dr. Kaunda had lost his benefits when he went back to politics. Eventually they were restored by law. I know this has been a big rallying point. It's a legal position, which I didn't create. We can only work within the bounds of the law. So, but that's a wish that is buried here. So those who elected him in office can mourn him. So I end here on this issue. It was really to inform you, and you're aware of the tussling going on. If we fail to achieve that, it's not because we had no desire. It's because other issues have taken precedence above what I think is national interest. Having said that, I want to raise the issue of the constitutional making. This process was never meant to invoke acrimony in the country, divisions, shouting at each other, threatening each other. No. It was never meant to invoke those processes that we see now. This process was meant to address what we thought were fundamental flaws that had negative impact on the governance of our country, management, rebuilding the economy because of the cost implications of some of the provisions in the Constitution, ensuring that we have fairness in the representation amongst our people, delimitation done properly, with our approach to drive resources to the local areas. We thought that the distribution of these resources would be better if there was consideration given to, in the constituencies, to size, geography, to population, as the two driving factors. And really nothing else, but done across the country, not in a selective way. This process was meant to cut costs, wastage. We've given figures. I'm only saying highlight, because you already know these issues. Our three church mother bodies. By-elections, acrimony, digression. I said the cost already. Nothing else. The issues around absence of a chief legal advisor to government in between change of governments. Because of the constitutional provision, our church leaders, of bringing in an attorney general and a solicitor general, could take 4 months. Quarter of the year, you have no legal advisor, but business goes on. Who takes care of the legal advice protection to government? As it were, this attorney general, I don't know, you came in after how many months? 3 months. The process is defined in the Constitution, nomination, ratification process, 3 months. The nation cannot operate without legal advisor for 3 months, because we make mistakes. Never ill-intended, never. The issue of women representation is an old issue. It's not new. Absolutely not new. And I know it's a difficult one for many governments before me. It was a difficult one before us. I think we thought we must make a step. It's not perfect, but we must make a step. And I think the youth, the differently abled as well. There was a misconception, our men of God, churches, that the nomination, presidential nomination, will be open-ended. It was our mistake. It was never intended to be like that. That is limitless. It will go in the subsidiary legislation. In framing it, phrasing it, in communicating, we made a mistake. It is supposed to be limited to a number. In this case, we are talking about 5%. The current number of 8 is 5% of the elected of members of parliament. And we would like to maintain that ratio. Other numbers being proposed, it would be an additional 2, which is 10 out of the elected 250 something. Nazir, you should know the number. 256. So it will be 5%. But the way we communicated in the initial period sent a message, and clearly and rightly so, that it would be in a subsidiary legislation. I think that has since been corrected. And that's a value of communicating, that's a value of dialoguing, to be 5% limit. And I do accept and believe that the observation by the public, including I think some of you, was correct. And it's since been attended to be 5% in absolute numbers. 10. The rationale for the nominations are clear. They were designed even in the colonial time to take care of different interests. Outcome of an election is unpredictable. In our case, we used the 8 to nominate members of parliament from 2 provinces we didn't get MPs. Technically, it's possible. And there it happened. Luapula and Northern. And if you check the president's nomination, this fellow's nominations, 50% of the nominated members of parliament came from the northern corridor. Luapula, Mushinga, and Northern, 50%. And they are all in cabinet. Minister Kapala from Luapula, Minister Mbanga from Mchinga, Minister Mwamba from Northern, Minister Mutati from Northern. Who else? That's it. That's the 50%. And you can imagine the other regions where we got more votes were screaming at the president that I was being unfair. I said, no, that was the intention of this, to bring the country to the table. And that's how we managed to get a cabinet representation from all the provinces. It's not my call, our church leaders, but in the previous cabinet, there were 3-4 provinces which had no representation on cabinet table, on the cabinet table. These are matters that we don't talk about, but they're real. So the wisdom of those who designed the Constitution, it was to allow for such things, and that's how we utilize the nominations ourselves. Others can be explained. I can go on and on. It's not necessary. I'm reinforcing a point that the intent was never to be one to provoke the heat, the acrimony, the divisive stuff that is going on at the moment. And I thought that a meeting like this would allow us the dialogue that should be taking place throughout. And I'll come to that in a moment. As you have seen from the content, there are no, emotional issues which were raised before the document was released that this president wants to remove 50% plus 1. It's not there. This president wants to remove the running mate. It's not there. These presidents want to do quite a lot of allegations that were made. Those are not there. So we see that the proposed content issues are really not targeted at an individual citizen. As we know, the 1996 amendments were targeted at one individual called KK. There's no individual we're targeting. So I wanted to explain that our intention is genuine, but obviously citizens are free to interpret things in a different way. I would like to say that we have been dialoguing with a lot of institutions. Teams have gone around the country. But I thought that a meeting with yourselves is essential at this time. A number of people are saying, no, the consultations must be longer. We are listening. If our intentions are genuine, why should we not listen? Why? So I wanted to confirm with you that we are listening. And that's the way it should be. But we would like to hear from also key players, church and government are one. Doing different roles, but one. Serving the same community. I've said this before. And the acrimony is not necessary. Threats, acrimony is not necessary. And people say, no, the timing is wrong. What is the right time? In 1991, the Constitution was amended in the election year. Just an example. In 1996, the Constitution was amended in the election year. In 2016, the Constitution was amended in the election year. In January 2016 is when the Constitutional amendment was made. The election was in August 2016. So the context, the arguments may be fair, may be genuine, but the realities of how the Constitution has been amended is different. It points to the election years. And our attempt was to do it before the election year. Because to be fair to you, we must explain what was the reason. It's because we were busy with the emergency issues of, one, restoring the rule of law. People argue about it, but not much has been done. We think a lot has been done. Two, the economic parameters. Debt restructuring took a lot of our time. What else? To restore the mining sector. Then we inherited COVID, by the way. Never experienced a disease like that before. Then the drought, which had a dramatic negative impact to us. And our focus was to get the economy back on the rails. Numbers don't lie. My leaders, our leaders, economy had declined to minus 2.8% growth, GDP. Figures are there. With all these challenges, we've bottomed up the economy. 4% in the drought year. We are projecting 6 this year. It's a lot of effort getting our children back to school, free education. It's a lot of effort. That's what preoccupied our mind. Not that we were unaware of the need for amendments like this. So it was a matter of priorities. But maybe another government would have taken the priorities in a different order. That's what we thought we would do. It's a matter that we are open for criticism, for debate. We also thought that if we did not do this process before 2026 elections, we will be in breach of the Constitution. That requires delimitation every 10 years. The last delimitation we did was 20. We're already late. The constitutional provision is very clear, which we made for ourselves. A delimitation, because of, I believe, population growth, other dynamics, must be done every 10 years. This is our constitution. This government didn't make it. The people made it, and we are part of the people, so we made it together with yourselves. Every 10 years, it's there. I think the article is clear. And it means that the next delimitation, will take place for 2031. So we'll have been off by many years. So those considerations are being ignored. This government is elected to respect the law. These are the laws of the land. People are saying, some people are arguing about a constitutional review commission. Our leaders, church leaders. How many constitutional review commissions have we had in this country? Chona, 1970 something. 72. Chona commission led to the one-party state, so it came before the one-party state. So probably 72. One-party state came in when? 19 what? 70 what? Around 72, 73. Mwanakatwe, Mungomba, Mpunga. I think there was CRC, there was a middle ground under President Mwanawasa. There was a middle ground. NCC, thank you very much, NCC. All those contain material which we drew on. And we thought that we should address some of the key issues like we have chosen. The constitutional making is driven by Article 79. There is no other. So what people are saying, there's no other legal basis to amend the Constitution other than under Article 79. It's a legal provision. So people say lots of things that are not backed by law. We also don't want to waste money. I'm sorry to say, my three leaders, that Zambians have gotten used to be members of the Constitutional Review Commission and any money. We don't have money. Really, we don't have money. And that's one of the motivations we know is going on. No, we need a Constitutional Review Commission. But how many of them are we going to do? So we actually flip the coin. We say, let's borrow from what has already been done, and we spent money on them. And it's secondary that it is there. I'm not preaching to you. I chose to give you this brief so that it's part of dialogue, it's part of engagement. You have your own views, obviously. I appreciate that. So, because we have been going around, the teams have been going around listening to debate, and I said to my team, we better listen to what people are saying. And so, we don't agree for people to push for constitutional review commissions only to end up on the shelf and to enrich the libraries. And yet we spend money and time. Time is money. Time is money. That's why we've been able to kick around this economy, because we are conscious of costs. That's why there are no VXs we're buying. I know when I made that pronouncement, many didn't know where we were going. Long before we knew there was drought coming. There's no VX. Anyone driving a VX is an old one. When it runs out, no access. My ministers were very unhappy with me. I'm very unpopular with some of my ministers. It's the right thing to do. So, what else would I want to say? Is to simply say, there is no other basis that we can use other than Article 79, which is quite descriptive. To run through a constitutional review commission, I think it will be wasting money. So let's stay within the law. That's what we chose to do. Let's have a shorter process. Let's have a less costly process. But we're hearing what people are saying, we need more time. And we are open to discussing the time issue. And when we do, who else needs to be reached? In what form? Certainly not through a constitutional review commission. In what form? We are open to that, to those views, to that advice. Completely open. Because we're doing this for the people. And we made our arguments. If people still think there's something else we can do, what is it that they want to do, us to do together with them? We look at it, our three leaders. Not acrimony, not abuse of each other, not moralization, not political grandstanding to a point that even in the church now you don't distinguish, is this a church or this is a political party? Clearly that's where we are now. Is this a church talking or is it a political party? Even in a political party, why should a political party talk aggression, acrimony? Why? Men, as Christians, men and women of prayer, why should we be trading insults? I don't agree to that. We don't agree to that. So that's why we ask for this decent conversation. And here, as representatives of the church, is there something we can address? How do we address it? But to say, no, we are not allowing you to do a constitutional amendment. Why? We've been in breach of the law. Why are you not allowing this government? The PF did it. MMD did it. Twice for MMD. 1996, sorry, 1990, not MMD. UNIP did it. Let's be fair. It wasn't MMD who did it in 1991. It was UNIP. MMD did it. 1996. PF did it. All the governing parties, gentlemen, UPND is the fourth party in government. All the three that have come before us have done a constitutional amendment, I believe, within the law. Article 79, within 10 years. Only this government, everyone will say, no, we are not allowing you to do it. So we start smelling a rat. Why? Why do you want us to breach the law? UNIP did it in 1991. MMD did it in 1996. PF did it in 2015, 2016. Only this pariah government, this government that seems to be disliked by a certain group of people, and stones are being thrown every day, only this government must breach the Constitution and is not allowed to do the constitutional amendment. Others have been allowed because it was their obligation. And the church is joining, throwing stones, abuse, insults. What crime have we committed? If you disagree with us, you just say, you know, we disagree with you on that item, that item. We propose we can handle this item of disagreement this way, this way. Thank you very much. That's why I asked for this meeting. We confirm the importance of consultation. We confirm the importance of hearing each other out in a civilized way. We confirm that we are a service. We are here to serve the people, not ourselves. We confirm that we are a Christian nation and we must live as Christians. Act, live like Christians. Learn at least to live like Christ. That's the reason we thought an engagement with you is important. Happy to hear you out. Happy to hear other stakeholders. No problem at all. But acrimony, abuse, no. That's not right. Thank you very much. Very grateful for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We'll move on to the Bishop to give their remarks. Bishop.
Your Excellency, we, on behalf of my colleagues, of course, they'll also add in. Your own information, Your Excellency, we were looking forward to a time like this, particularly on the second item, but of course I'll go back to the first item so that we could be able to have dialogue and talk about what is going on, particularly the amendment part. And we are grateful that you have brought us to this time, at this time. And it's not an easy season for you, sir, and for the nation. and for the nation because of what has been on. We just lost the 6th president, and we're very sorry about that. We may not go into details to answer certain things you have said because we were told that at that time the press will leave and then we will have. No, when I'm through with just a short of welcome part, so that we can be able to give to you certain stance, so that you may be able to see our stance and why we are standing in that way. But we want to say thanks, sir, for welcoming us, Your Excellency. We are very, very grateful. And we don't take this for granted. As I said, we are looking forward for a time like this where we could be able to dialogue. And we are here today. In the case of the burial of the 6th president, our stance as a church, if you have heard us talk about it, is we have called and we have begged that he be buried home here, because we do believe that you don't bury a chief outside his village. He must be buried home. I may be theologically not correct, but I do know, sir, that when we look at the founding fathers of the nation of Israel, Abraham was buried home. Sarah was buried home. When Jacob was in Egypt, when he was about to die, he actually commanded his sons, and he said, "You must take me home." When Joseph reached a certain age, because he lived up to 130 years, he told them that when you are leaving, that's 400 years later, he says, "You must take me home." We're still sitting here, sir, believing for a miracle, that there will be a change of mind, and probably the family would come through and will bring the remains of the president, for the 6th president, back home. We have appealed and said that the family, yes, they have the rights to the remains of their beloved, but he was not only a man of a small, the family, as it may be. We all are a family, more than 20 million people, just like you are the father now of this nation. He was. And we are all mourning. And we are asking that please bring the body of our president, or former late president, to come back home for burial. So that, Your Excellency, we are with you. And we want you to know that we are praying for you, and we're praying for the country. We are spending a lot of time talking to God that the nation, as we mourn right. And so quickly, maybe before the media goes, is also, we want you to know, Your Excellency, the 3 church mother bodies, as we sit here, sir, we work with the government of the day. That's what we do. We are scripturally commanded by the word of God to work with the government of the day. We are, yes, a prophetic voice, but we are also what we could call a righteousness voice. Because at the end of the day, to God, people matter. We can have all that we can talk, but at the end of the day, sir, people matter. And For us, we do not despise leadership, not at all. And we want you to know that there has not been insults coming from the church, neither the throwing of stones, but there has been disagreements. And we are grateful. That's why we say we're grateful that we are here. But no insults. There hasn't been any throwing of stones, but there has been disagreements. And disagreements are possible. That is particular on the amendment of the Constitution. The other things is that we are not against the amendment of the Constitution. And we have made it very clear on the forums. No, we are not, sir. We are against. If you have noticed, we have not even talked about the time part. What we are up and saying is we need an inclusive process. We are not talking about the what you call it, you call them, sir, the commissions and so forth. No, sir. We're not even looking at that. We have not even mentioned one of that in our statements. Of course, we're in a world where social media is in abundance. But, sir, we are looking at the process that protects the content. That is what we are looking for, sir. You have constantly in your platforms shared with us how much you love this country, and we can prove it. You do. You have done so much, and your government has done a lot. And I haven't lived very long, sir. I would like to jokingly say I'm only 27 years old with 4 grandchildren. But that's just on the lighter note to say. But, sir, in my short life in my country, I have seen UNIP came and all the other subsequent governments. There's been very big differences that we have seen that, okay, this government is different from this one. We can analytically bring it to you that this is the differences we have seen. I think you have done your best, sir, with your government in a short time. But as a people and as an organization that lives with the people down there, sir, we are not telling you lies. We will not do that. We are.
Thank you for watching that live broadcast from State House. Please enjoy the rest of our programming.
Time is power.